welcome everybody to the first episode of the. We don't have
that. That's a good question.
You know what? What if we found out a name for this podcast?
I think that'd be a swell idea.
A pretty swell idea indeed. We are your hosts. He is Grant Werner.
That's my name.
And I am Tacos.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely
Okay, mister, then what are you a fan of?
I'm a fan of literature and activism.
What are you, a nerd? Get out of here.
Oh my god.
Alright, you know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of anime.
That's disgusting. You're a disgusting human being. Anime? It's disgusting. I watch cartoons. American cartoons.
BoJack Horseman?
Oh, hold on now.
What are you
You're going to lower me to that standard?
What are you talking about? BoJack Horseman's a great show.
No, it's garbage. I watch Teen Titans Go.
I don't think I want to do this podcast with you anymore.
Well, you already signed the contract,
God
mister.
damn it.
Need I remind you?
I thought that was
you were under oath.
I thought that was an invitation to a pizza party.
No, I disguised it as an invitation. That's how I get people on the show.
Oh.
I'm like, you want to come to a pizza party? Just sign right here. And they're like, okay. Psych, it's actually a contract. Do a podcast with me.
You know, that's actually a great idea. What if we're the Pizza Party Podcast?
The Pizza Party Podcast. I'm sure it's already been taken. That seems to...
Well, he looks for something that's been taken.
The Pizza Party Podcast!
While we're figuring out a name, this is going to be our first episode of this new little podcast you're listening to.
Yeah, it's already taken.
Yeah, of course it's taken. See, all the good names are taken. That's why we're at a loss.
Why so many people want to start a podcast? Don't they know we're the only ones that matter?
Exactly. Like, why even try?
Why even try when they know that we're going to come up with a podcast that's 10 times better?
You know what? Maybe, like when a fish is in a stream and it's trying to swim up it?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Anywho.
What is the stream? Podcast?
Spotify.
Streaming service.
Oh, it's Twitch all along.
Oh!
So anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna be following a little bit of a. We're gonna try to figure out some segments for our podcast.
Let's take a food we like.
A food we like.
What's a food
like
you enjoy?
We both like, or that we individually.
That we one that's unique to us.
Unique to what we both like. We both have some Japanese candy. We both have. Mm-hmm.
I would say I enjoyed that very much.
Oh yeah, so
it tasted like American candy but cheaper.
Yeah, I think that is a fair. If anyone doesn't know what we're referencing, because why would you? I'd be scared. I bought some Japanese candy the other week, and we had a little party, eating all of it, and I'm pretty sure I have the corona now.
We should have made a video for that. That would have been awesome.
We thought about it, but then,
But we're gay and,
Here we are, making a podcast with no name.
No name.
Wait, we were talking about BoJack Horseman. It's got the horse with no name. What if they're the podcast with no name?
That's got to be taken.
That's got to be taken.
Yeah, let me look up. The podcast with no... Yeah, it already autofills.
Okay. It makes sense. God, imagine if it wasn't, though. Those guys must think they're so clever.
They must think they're so cool with their stupid podcast.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But what's a food you like?
A food I like? Damn, I really like lobster and crab.
Lobster and crab?
I'm a big seafood fan.
So crustacean?
I'm a big fan of those claws, you know what I mean?
Well, I like chicken, so I like fowl. So
the fowl crustacean.
Fowl, yeah.
All right, welcome to the Crustacean Fowl Podcast, where I'm your claw and he's your cock.
No, I want to be the claw. You can be the cock.
I don't want to be the cock.
I don't want to be a cock.
You can be my doodle doo.
Will you be the cock to my doodle doo? Have you seen that picture where it's the guy bathing in chicken nuggets?
Yeah. He's like, will you be...
Yeah, will you be the chicken or something dumb like that?
Oh, yeah, the chick, and then it has E-in in parentheses, nugget to my... And he's like wrapped up in construction paper. It's really a cursed image. We actually had a friend who gave that to one of our female teachers, and she was scared. Oh, yeah. He printed it out, and she felt intimidated.
So I looked up the podcast, but nothing came up. So I can only assume it's not taken.
What do you say, guys? You want to listen to the podcast?
The Triple P podcast.
I gotta pee in the pod.
I gotta pee in Fortnite.
You know what? We're such good friends. We're like, pee in a podcast.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. Would it pee in a podcast?
Let's look up pee in a podcast. See if that...
I feel like that's too clever to not be taken.
Yep, pee in the podcast.
Son of
it
a
already
heck.
autofills. How about Hear me out. The Joe Rogan Experience.
Hear me out. What about like the Gus and Eddie podcast?
That's a good one. How about the Super Mega podcast?
What about Cox and Crendor in the morning?
What about the official podcast?
I think this joke is getting old.
It's getting a little old.
A little old. Okay, so...
All right, so we need to have a mutual interest. What is something we're both interested in?
Mutual, obviously, recording.
Recording?
We're a big fan of filming and all that garbage. Mm-hmm. So, what is it? Something that's a little bit more like kind of off-kilter, you know, not something like, oh, we're both a fan of anime or...
Right, something strange. We're both a fan
We're
both a fan of the color of the ocean after a storm.
It's pretty cool.
It is
pretty nice aesthetic.
Cool color.
Yesterday, there was a red sunset. That was pretty cool.
It's disgusting.
Okay.
The purple sunsets are the best.
Well, those happen more often, actually. And it makes me very happy. I have a lot of pictures on my phone that I will not be sharing.
Sunsets are gross in general. If you like sunsets, you're degenerate.
Well,
sunrises, however.
No,
those are
then
for
it
the
fucking
intellectual.
blinds you.
Those are intellectuals, such as myself, would enjoy it.
So
not if you have grade A vision, such as myself.
As you're not wearing your glasses because you broke them.
Who says they're broken?
So
maybe I'm like the guy from the Matrix. My glasses, both the legs fell off. But you know the guy from the Matrix? He doesn't have legs on his.
He doesn't
glasses.
have legs.
That's true.
The whole movie, the dude just crawls. I really thought they were just being very inclusive for that movie.
No.
You know,
anyone
Musk?
Get into it.
What? I meant to say Keanu Reeves.
What?
What if they're related?
What if they're related?
Because like they're so the Redditors. Maybe the Redditors made them as their gods.
Well, the thing with Keanu Reeves is that he is stupid. The Keanu Reeves podcast. There we go.
Yeah. Completely original name.
Let's see.
Oh my god. If someone does have the Keanu Reeves podcast, I'll be disappointed in them.
The Keanu Reeves podcast. He might have a podcast called the Keanu Reeves podcast.
What do you?
Yep, it already exists.
Okay. Well,
someone has a podcast called Cool Breeze Over the Mountain.
That sounds like, hello, my kids. Today we'll be.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I got a little.
You just raped those audio. We're looking at the audio right now. It's a solid blur. I apologize for his mistake.
I'm gonna deny that ever happened, and then I'll countersue in the future.
What are you, a politician?
When a woman comes up and says he did this to me, and I'll be like, no, I didn't.
and then I'll be like, see, this is why it's so dangerous to be a white man these days.
So have you seen the thing with Harvey Weinstein where he was like going up the stairs to his trial and then like, oh, his legs stopped working. He's like, oh, my legs don't work.
Yeah, God, he's like a soccer player.
Wait,
so what? If they get tapped slightly, they'll just be like, oh,
it hurts.
They'll be like, coach.
They're like, if it hurts that bad, we'll have to amputate. They're like, I'm actually not that bad. It's actually okay.
Amputation via soccer. See, that's the thing. Like, we don't want to get political on this podcast, but we will absolutely make fun of stupid people in power.
But so let's talk about Trump.
The Trump podcast. Let's go, baby.
Well, I like one thing. I actually, this is something I want to talk about.
Okay.
So late night shows, right? You got Conan, you got Trevor Noah,
you got SNL.
Yeah, SNL, Fallon, stuff like that, right?
All the same people, but
like
different.
like talk shows that come on at night, right? I think quarantine has made them significantly better. I think Eddie Burback talked about this in a video.
Did he?
Yeah, but the reason I think it became better is like I really like the look and the aesthetic of it. Because one reason I love watching YouTubers is because most of them
settings.
Yeah, most of them film it like in their bedroom or stuff like that, or in their house, and it feels very DIY, and it's like
personal.
Yeah, it feels like it's more like of an intimate connection rather than watching Conan in front of like a bunch of people, right?
And it's like this weird like skyline in the background.
Yeah,
fucking.
So I think it's cool that most of them did it in their homes for a while, and Trevor Noah still does it in his home. And it feels like a more intimate connection. I feel like I can connect with it more.
I feel like it's cool. I also feel like they're trying to transition into a media that's very new for them.
Like,
because like they're all old.
Yeah,
and they're like, well, these YouTubers are doing it.
That's true because really
doing it.
What the difference was is like it still had like editing stuff like that, but they were able to do skits and whatnot. And
see, that's what I don't watch any of that stuff, but if that's true, that's really impressive.
Yeah, well, they had like they didn't have necessarily like skits, but like games they would play and stuff, and then they would have like the morning or the starting monologue where they would talk about what's in the news and stuff, and it would be scripted.
You know what's bizarre to me? So when I go over to my grandma's house, that's where my sister-in-law and my brother lives, and all the little babies. So they'll have like Nickelodeon on, and I'll pass the TV, and there'll be like these child stars. Like, in the quarantine, heck yeah! Just like, we get wacky and goofy. Like, it's so strange because you got these 4 kids and this this holy cross of internet connection, this Zoom meeting. And then they're like, they got like pie on their face, they're jumping around, but it's so like, imagine being like, you know what I watched when I was a kid? 4 dudes talking to each other online on the TV, and it's so strange every time because it's like, they try to do stuff together alone. Right. And it's just it's such an obvious, it almost calls to how sad it is.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up, though, because there's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't, seek it or anything, but if Nick is on and the show is on, I might watch it. It's called Nickelodeon's Unfiltered. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't know.
It's these 3 kids... the 3 same kids every time. Well, they're like teenagers, not really like young kids.
Yeah, usually they're around 16.
Yeah, they're 15. Probably 16, 17.
But they act like they're 12, 14.
Yeah, but then there's this host who's like an adult. I never got that. But
that's kind of weird.
What they do is they bring on celebrities, and by celebrities I mean like washed up celebrities. Like they had
hey guys, it's me, Michael Keaton.
Yeah, they had like Tony Hawk on the other day and stuff like that.
Aw, poor Tony.
Yeah, poor Tony. No one talks about him anymore. But
they do on Twitter.
But basically, what it is it's pretty much like a Snapchat kind of rip-off thing. I mean, it's not like a rip-off necessarily, but it's like obviously poking that like, hey, kids do this. And it's so pandering, but I like it for some reason. What they do is they bring the celebrity on, and then they have a filter on, which isn't an actual filter. It's just freaking editing that they do, probably. Snapchat has where it changes their face.
So like
you can't see who it is. It changes their voice, and then they ask a series of questions.
You know what that reminds me of? What? It reminds me of those
any game show.
No. Like the filter, like, you can't tell who it is. Like those crime shows where they bring in a real drug dealer, so they black out his face and they deepen his voice. Yeah. On the night of 17th in San Diego, I murdered a man.
I was picturing Masked Singer. You went freaking murderer drug dealer
because it's so weird. Anyways.
I see where they want the anonymity.
Anonymity, yeah. Anonymity. So, but they're doing that for a kids show, is what you're saying.
I mean, it's so obviously it's like a bunch of 60-year-olds got together and was like, what do kids like? Well, my son likes Snapchat. I think that's what it's called. Instagram, something like that.
Instagerms. Why are we letting our kids play with Instagerms?
But yeah, so it's obviously that's pandering and stuff, but it's so much fun to watch, and I don't know why.
I think it's because it's so it's trying to reach out to that kid in you.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
But it's so corporate, it hurts.
Yeah, it's so curated. It's so processed. It doesn't feel like I'm actually watching what I'm watching, and because the whole shtick to the show is they're not actually in person. They're all video calling from a different location.
It's all just one set.
Yeah.
It's just like a 4-panel set.
It probably is. They're like, hey, we're coming from our house, but they're actually on the Nick set and they have a huge green screen. But I think one reason I like it is it adds all of this really weird and wacky editing. And some of the jokes genuinely are topical and kind of land sometimes.
Very rarely.
And I'm like, if this show is targeted towards a younger audience, I think that's going to go zoom way over their head, right?
Yeah.
Because no teenager except myself is tuning in on Nick.
How many shows of our days did that though? Courage the Cowardly Dog. Teen Titans had a lot of that shit.
That's true. They did. Yeah. Speaking of which. Well, actually, let's talk about what are some shows you watched?
Shows as a kid?
Yeah, as a kid.
I was really into mainly Teen Titans. Uh-huh. I really liked
the original.
Yes, the original Teen Titans. Because when I was young, I grew up that area for me was 2005 to 2008. So that's the shows I grew up with. So early me But I really liked Power Rangers. I liked
Power Rangers is a big one.
I liked Cars. I was more into movies, I think.
Yeah, I was into kind of everything. Like, TV was my life. No, not really. But I really liked. Well, first off, Courage, Cowardly Dog. Really liked SpongeBob, of course. Really liked.
Of course, SpongeBob.
I really liked a lot of
Chowder. I like Chowder.
Yeah, Chowder was a good one. I really liked Nick, like sitcoms, like Drake and Josh, iCarly.
Yeah,
Victorious.
that was a big part of what I watched too.
I want to rewatch iCarly, but there's like nowhere to really rewatch.
So we were trying to watch iCarly on a completely legitimate app, I swear.
Yeah,
and it was just like we watched so many movies on that. We watched The Dictator. We watched I think we watched
Dictator.
Yeah. What is it called?
You mean
the interview?
Yeah.
Isn't the Dictator like some Arabian guy?
No, Dictator's just like a head of the government that controls everything. Like
but isn't there a movie called The Dictator? I'll look it up in a second.
Yeah, there might be.
Anyway, so we watched a bunch of movies on it, and then we're like, okay, let's watch an episode of iCarly, because, like, Impractical Jokers worked, so, of course, Carly would. It did not. We tried, like, 3 different times.
Well, I think it got taken down, right? Like,
no.
What is the DMC takedown or whatever?
Only on certain servers?
Oh, well, maybe it didn't work on other servers, because they just straight up removed it.
Yeah, but there's definitely a DMCA takedown on a few things. On the completely legitimate app, I have no clue why they do a DMC takedown on Hulu.
Strange. I think the only place you can really watch it is through Amazon Prime, right? Buying it through Amazon Prime.
Yeah, probably either that or that's what I want to talk about, because I saw a comic strip about this, and it was just like it was a dude on his computer and Netflix was on there. And he was like, this is great. This is awesome. And it was like 2016. And then it goes to 2020. And then you got HBO Originals, Amazon Originals, Hulu, Disney Plus, and all these TV shows like Fox and all of their new subscriptions you have to pay for and watch. And he picks up a pirate hat and he puts it on. And I feel that because if it's a singular market, people are going to pay for it. But if it's convoluted and it's making their money, they're way more likely to just bail on that shit.
Streaming services especially. Well, and this is what really sucks. Because usually when companies compete, it's good for the consumer. Because that means prices are going to get lower. It's good for the economy as well if companies compete. Like back in the, I forgot, 80s or whatever, a bunch of major ISPs, so you had A&T and stuff like that,
of course,
got together, and the reason internet speeds are a lot slower, we're 10th highest internet speeds in the world. There's 9 other countries that have way higher internet speeds than us.
I'm looking at you, Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea I think has one of the fastest, but basically the reason those are higher than ours is because back then companies were competing against each other. But in the 80s, all of our major ISPs were like, it'd be great if we didn't do that. So they kept internet speeds low and they prices high, and then that's bad. Eventually, I think that stopped now. I think they started competing as of 10 years ago. But
because we got 5G now.
Yeah, we got 5G
causing
now.
Coronavirus.
But it was so dumb. People thought that. But
people think that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It hurts.
But yeah. So, and that's why. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, streaming services. The one time that they're actually
don't have a name for this podcast.
Well, the one time that they actually are competing, it's not good for the consumer. 'Cause that means if you want to watch a certain show and it's on HBO Max and you don't have HBO Max, you have to get HBO Max just to watch the show. So it makes more sense to pirate, right?
And here's the thing, The Boys, that Amazon Original show that popped up. I was like, that seems awesome. And I was like, I have Netflix and Hulu is all I have. So I was just like, and then I picked up my pirate hat.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking, it's not worth it for one show.
I agree.
I think that's my biggest problem with it, is that when I look at those and think, the reason I want this is for the single show, that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
So I think if there's only one show you're interested in, it's not worth it, and you should just...
and I'm sure if,
sail the seas.
If we were... I'm trying to articulate my words the best I can here. If we wanted a show on HBO Max, and let's just say HBO Max had a bunch of really good shows, dude.
It doesn't, but let's
just
assume.
But so does Netflix. So does Hulu. So it's let's say I get Hulu and I have all these great shows, but then I want to watch this other show, but it's not on Hulu. It's on HBO Max, and I'm like, well, and let's say HBO Max has a bunch of really good shows. It's like, am I gonna pay for both of them just to get a group of good shows that I like? You know?
Yeah, that hurts big time.
It would make more sense if there was just like, I was okay when it was just Netflix and Hulu. Cause
Oh yeah, because it was just like pick one or the other. Because it's cute. It's almost like iPhone or Android.
Yeah. But now that HBO Max is coming to play, and Amazon Prime isn't really a streaming service, but people a lot of
Amazon Originals has gotten a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's just becoming a lot more. Yeah, competitive. It's not good. And now people are like doing tug of war for the rights of TV shows, and if I want it on my streaming service, don't I want it on mine?
See, but now more and more people are like, well, I'm not going to pay for all of them.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay for all of them, okay?
So we got
you guys make a decision, or I'm going to pirate it.
I'm going to sail the seas. So we got about 5 minutes left in this episode. So I think what we'll do...
Circle back.
I feel like we've learned a lot today of Nickelodeon is a corporate reaching out to your hearts. There's way too much competitiveness in streaming services nowadays. And it's funny to me because, TV is just like, TV is dead, everyone's saying. And I believe that. But now it's just like, fuck it, bring back TV.
Yeah. Well, TV is dead, but TV shows... Well, I guess they're not even really TV shows, but shows aren't dead, yeah.
Well, entertainment's never going to die.
No, but... TV is like, yeah, I think TV's pretty dead.
Because that's the thing. Like, you pay for Hulu, you pay for Netflix, you get no ads. Mm-hmm. You pay for YouTube Plus, you die.
Yeah.
But, no ads.
Right.
Who would buy YouTube Plus? Anywho.
But, first off, we need a name.
We do. We really need a name.
We can come up with one after it ends, and then once we upload it, they'll be like, if they decide on a name, and it'll be like, the Blank Podcast, episode 1. Like, oh, that's what they decided on.
Okay. Or,
stupid.
Honestly, Crustacean Fowl.
Crustacean Fowl.
The Crusty Fowl.
The Crusty Fowl.
If anyone has that damn name, we're taking it from them. I don't care. It's just like, I'm watching the Crustacean Fowl podcast, and a motherfucker goes, which one? I'm pulling out a gun.
The Krusty Crackpot podcast.
Okay, the Krusty Krab, got it. So
Krusty Krab. Dylan's Blue Balls.
Dylan's
episode 2.
Dylan's big old blue balls.
Blue balls. How long have we been recording?
We've been recording for 22 minutes.
22 minutes? Great, sweet.
I got a lot to do today.
Yeah?
I gotta go do stuff. What's your plans for today?
Nothing.
I'm gonna record a third podcast.
I can't think of anything that would suit.
You know what we should do for the end? Let's plug.
Plug?
You want to plug?
Plug what? Oh,
our socials.
Our socials. All right. I'm Crystal. I am CRYST4L. You can find that anywhere. You can find it on Twitch. You can find it on Reddit. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Twitter. It's all the same name everywhere because that name's not taken on anything.
Yeah, because it's a good name.
I
am Taco Bell Night on basically every social media you can find. I will be making. I think both of us soon will be making professional Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
But we're also going to have our personals. So speaking of. You're more of a filmer, recorder, and all that, and I plan. You want to do videos and podcasts.
Yeah,
I want to be here for that. But I'm going towards voice acting, and
yeah.
I'm gonna try to get in some auditions. So we're both we'll both be doing our own separate activity online, but we're good buddies in real life. We known each other for 5, almost 6 years.
Technically, since kindergarten.
I don't count that because
we
we were in the same class, but I wasn't like, wow, my buddy Grant.
Fine then. So yeah, since like 6th grade ish, like mid 6th grade, somewhere around there. Yeah,
6th grade, so which is fucking. We're juniors now.
So that's been how long? It's been 8, 9, 10, 11.
He's actually speaking an ancient language right now.
We're juniors. Huh? So yeah, that's 6 years.
Dang! Oh yeah, 6 years. Well, you did join halfway through the 6th grade year.
That's true.
So 5.5.
So yeah, 5.5. Still a good amount of time.
Yeah, it was only like November when you showed up.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, we're going towards the final minutes of our podcast, and I just want to thank everyone who listened and everyone who didn't listen. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe out there. Things suck, but you got people to focus on to make you happier, or Genshin Impact came out. Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. Some cool games. Among Us is happening.
Super Mario Bros. 35.
That was... I felt like I learned all of its gameplay in 10 minutes. Anyway, I hope all of you have a lovely day. And we'll see you in the next episode of the Unnamed Podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's probably trademarked.
Yeah.
The
Goodbye. We love you.